Good evening. Now, this is the last session of the 3 days GIPC 2020. I invite our learned friends at the valedictory session. First, I invite Sri Narendra Sabharwal, Chairperson FICCI IP Committee, to please come on the dais. I invite Sri Praveen Anand, Senior Partner Anand and Anand, to please come and grace the dais. Now I invite J.A. Ersling, Partner Peterson and Huen IP, United States. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I invite Mr. Terry Ladlow, President, Technicides, Canada. I invite Dr. Malati Lakshmi Kumaran, Director IPR, Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan, attorneys. I also invite maybe Dr. S.K. Murthy. He is just on the way. He's in another session, Inspire, in the IHIP session. So he will be joining us soon. So I welcome all of you at this valedictory session. Maybe some more people will join us after conclusion of all other technical sessions. First and foremost, I request my fatherly figure, the patriarch of the IP field, Mr. Narendra Sabharwal, to make his opening comment about what GIPC is, how we started our journey, and some inspiring talks. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My greetings to everybody who is on the dais here. And let me start by once again thanking Dr. Agarwal for his very kind invitation to attend all or some sessions of GIPC. As I had occasion to mention earlier, I've been associated with this convention since its inception, and I've seen it growing in stature and becoming an international brand in its own right. It's always a pleasure to come back and get associated with the work that GIPC is doing. I must say, when I saw the theme of the GIPC this year, I was totally fascinated. There couldn't have been a better theme: destructive technologies and rethinking of IP. In today's world, perhaps we don't realize that the fourth industrial revolution is already upon us. Much of it is bypassing the common man in India, but the experts, the lawyers, the academicians, the technologists, the startups who are involved in the field of what can be generically called destructive technologies, and it encompasses AI and Internet of Things and blockchain and big data and what have you. It is extremely relevant, topical, that we discuss the impact of these technologies. And since, in a way, we belong to the IP community, we discuss what impact these technologies might have on the intellectual property architecture. And I will quickly give you a sense from the point of view of IP policy and also from the point of view of the global IP community. I've had the privilege of working in the World Intellectual Property Organization for close to 20 years. And I started my association with IP in Government of India in the early 80s. So I've seen the developments in this field. And finally, it was a great satisfaction to be able to contribute to the national policy. Now, the first thing which strikes me is that we should not look at technologies, combine them in a sense of a sector. We should look at them as interacting with each other like a building block, like collaborative and sharing of the technologies, and try to see if they fit in the 7 objectives of the policy. And in my view, generally they do. Whether it is promotion or generation of IP, or the legal architecture, or human capital building, or enforcement, or commercialization. These are the areas in which, if you discuss any or all of these technologies, you can fit them in. What is important to note is that there are gaps. And I could see the gaps in what has been written in the policy, and in the last 3 years, how the world has moved. So we must do something to be able to discuss and cover those gaps in the policy. This is what Justice Pratibha Singh in the inaugural said, that we should look at IP policies 2.0. And I think the time has come after 3.5 years of the policy to have a look at it and see where the gaps are. And when we are looking at the gaps, we will also see the opportunities that these technologies provide us to move forward in the sense of not only economic development, but also social welfare. That is important. From the point of view, a global point of view, and Jay is here, he would perhaps have his own comments, but we have seen during the years that we were in WIPO that the international IP community is extremely flexible and extremely resilient to find solutions to seemingly intricate problems. you look at the formation of a number of treaties. At one time, it seemed they were impossible to negotiate. And yet, finally, the solution was arrived at. And we have, in hard law, new treaties. In multilateralism, there is no other UN or international organization in the world which is producing hard law as treaties, except WIPO. That says something about not only the organization, that's a different thing, but this says about international IP community. So last time when I'd invited Dr. Francis Gurry to FICCI, the topic of my seminar was Fourth Industrial Revolution and IP. This was a year back. And I asked him this question: Dr. Gurry, what do you think will happen to the IP architecture? And he said, Narendra, and we were colleagues there together for a number of years, we will have to tinker at the margin. But I do not, or he did not, foresee a wholesale change that was needed in the IP structure or architecture. And that's something coming from him was reassuring also. And then I thought, yes, when the grounds is being shrunk, there are also opportunities increasing. There are possibilities of AI being used for trademark examination, for novelty, for non-obviousness, for so many things, for research, which has already started happening in the world. So there are opportunities that we must seize. And then ultimately, if something did not find itself amenable to a solution, you have the precedence of a sui generis system. After all, in plant varieties, we did say you can patent it or you can have a sui generis system. And that opening is very much available. So on the international side, I think these challenges will be faced and solutions will be found. At the national level, I am sanguine that if we apply ourselves, we will be able to have a relook at the policy, reform it, and make it more conducive, where India will be able to attain its goal of $5 trillion economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. J. Ersling to make his few remarks about GIPC, what we can do further in GIPC, what should be your future roadmap.
This has been a great conference. So first of all, thank you so much for making it possible. Something that Narendra just said really struck me. We are unfortunately in a world now that is becoming more antagonistic, more nationalistic, more isolationist, more anti-trade. But there is one exception, and that exception is intellectual property. It's the one area, or at least an area of the law, where we are coming together, where patent offices are beginning to collaborate, to share work, where countries are looking for solutions to the problems of emerging technology, are actually beginning to say, well, this is what is happening in this country, so maybe we can apply it as well. It's almost one of the few areas where cooperation and collaboration still seems to exist. And it's in that way that I think GIPC can play a really important leading role. I think that there is a common conception in this country, and even amongst those of us here, that India's role is not important in the world IP community. But there is nothing that could be farther from the truth. India is a leading intellectual property country. And I can tell you from my personal experience as the director of the office of the PCT when I was at WIPO, that any initiative, any idea that we had, if we did not get the approval of India, if we didn't get India to say, yes, we agree, I knew that there was no way that we were going to be able to put that initiative or idea into practice. It was great that I love this country because it allowed me to make many, many trips here to discuss the initiatives that we had. Certainly within WIPO, but within the IP world, and not only amongst the developing countries where India is clearly the leader of the developing world, but amongst all the countries, India has an important role to play. Conferences like this allow that role to come out. It allows thoughts to be expressed. Certainly for people like me, to be able to be here, to listen to the ideas, the thoughts, the self-examination, the self-reflection, the topics that are discussed, I leave with a great deal of excitement, more than that, with a tremendous amount of knowledge. So I commend GIPC. I commend all of you for being here. And what I wish for all of us is that not only does GIPC continue in its path, but there are more and more GIPCs throughout the world so that we, in fact, can share ideas and continue to come together and continue to solve the problems that we will always be confronting in the world of IP, because hopefully technology is going to continue to evolve and we're going to continue to have to find solutions to work together. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we will have more and more GIPC throughout the world in time to come. Now, my friend Dr. Murthy, he has to catch his flight, so I request him just to say a few words. Yeah, Mr. J. Arsling also has to catch his flight, so we allow him.
Good evening.
But
dear esteemed members on the dais and off the dais. GIPC is a flagship international conference, and what gives even more immense pleasure is this conference has originated in India and it has made its name in the international scenario. One thing that I wish for GIPC and India and for ourselves is to keep increasing the quality of discussions that are happening here. Every single year, the quality of discussions have increased, and I would like to see the quality of discussions to increase even further and contribute to the legal fraternity here. Thank you so much.
thank you, Dr. Murthy, for your inspiring words. Now, may I request my friend, Mr. Parveen Anand, to say a few words.
So, for us lawyers, Friday evening is a very sacred spot. Nobody ever works on a Friday evening. And therefore, I'm going to make this terribly short. I remember when I came for the inauguration, I got a slip from Sir, saying, your time is 2 minutes. And I took, I think, 2.5 minutes, not more. So I'm going to do just that.
You are very disciplined, sir, all the
The-
time. But today I will request you to speak for at least 5 minutes.
I must say that on timing and on the choice of city, the beginning of the year, there were so many challenges. I could see first there was a Delhi Bandh on that day of the inauguration. Bharat Bandh. Bharat Bandh.
Delhi was not Bandh, it was a Bharat Bandh.
Bharat Bandh. But traffic and other things were all being disrupted. Second, there was the fog and flights were being cancelled. Just a couple of days before that, I remember one of our clients coming from overseas was not able to come. Then there was heavy rain. And then there was the non-user friendly environment at Vigyan Bhavan. You had to pass through lots of security and all that. It's a great palace, but sometimes a little tough to get in. And I was under the impression that all these factors put together might affect the output of the conference. And I was absolutely surprised to see over 300, 350.
Sir, I have the number. In the last 3 days, the total number of participants, including the scientists and all, the number is 612.
612. Wonderful. So despite these challenges, I can see that Dr. Agarwal is a great organizer. He also has great networking throughout the world because he's managed to pull in excellent speakers from all over the world. And the content of these conferences, the GIPC over the years, has been par excellence. We always thought, maybe 10 years ago, that the INTA and the LES and FICP and APA and AIPPI were the ones which were great conferences for lawyers. But there came Mr. Agarwal from nowhere into our world and has made this tremendous, great concept. It's almost like Uber. Uber came and kind of disrupted all the others. This is how Dr. Agarwal has created this great concept, which is highly successful. It's a great model, and I think, of course, you can ask any changes, and I would use Mr. Sabharwal's words, tinkering at the margin. Some small changes here and there, nothing more. Nothing more is required. I think on the whole, it's a tremendous conference and you should keep it up. One, of course, selfish suggestion would be try to take us to better destinations than in our own home, where I couldn't personally attend because of heavy pressure in the High Court. So take us to Goa and take us to nice places, and we'd love that. Slightly on a serious note, one thought, only one thought. I think we've been concentrating a lot on knowledge and knowledge of IP, whether it is at the school level, college level, CEO level, police, customs, patent offices, the officials, all judges. We've been concentrating on try to impart better knowledge on IP. I think knowledge is something which can come through 10 different sources. People can read up on their own also. They can go on the internet and learn also. They can go and acquire the knowledge if they have the interest. The important thing is for us to find more and more ways by which we can build up a love for IP. Today, I find that diminishing. The IP is being thrust on judges. IP, you have to do it because there's a TRIPS agreement and there's a local legislation. But that feeling for IP, where you celebrate IP, because today intellectual property has given so much of the creative talent of the world. There are very few creators and very many users, and a lot of people in the middle who make money on the creators. But the creators need to be protected means that you really have to start to love acts of creation. And how do you generate a love for IP is a different paradigm than giving people knowledge about IP. And that, I think, requires you, and I mentioned this in the opening on the first day in one sentence, that requires you to give people success stories. Tell them how Toyota came up from the first invention and became such a giant. Tell them how General Electric made it so big. And bring them India examples. Get hold of inventors to come and talk about their own experiences. Of course, some success, some struggle. There's never a success without a struggle. But I think that will encourage people to emulate them, to admire them. For example, take a judge in the High Court. Last couple of days we've been arguing some mega pharmaceutical patent cases before the Chief Justice. Our new Chief Justice has come from outside. And he may have lesser experience of IP because in other courts in the country, the experience is not so robust as there is in India, in Delhi. It would be nice if he had known what drug discovery is all about, how much of time it takes. 10 years, 10,000 compounds, 1 million or 800 million to 1 billion US dollars, the kind of investment effort, as opposed to any other person who may not be so familiar, may think, what's the big deal? You have this molecule and you just substitute, make 3 changes and you've got a new molecule. What's the effort involved? It's difficult for a person maybe with a commerce background to appreciate that. So exposing them to the industry is a very important thing. And therefore a workshop, for example, where a judge learns how a musician actually creates music, or how a film is made, or how pharmaceutical research, biotechnology research is actually done. I would say a judge should visit a lab. He should perhaps do an internship in a lab. I mean, I'm saying it kind of lightly, but just an exposure of that will mean a lot more respect for how it works and what kind of challenges there are and how it's an uphill task to create. Creation is not something which comes automatically. It requires a different fire within you, a creative fire. And I think appreciation of that, loving that, is a very important thing, which everybody should be exposed to, our young people, more than just telling them what a patent is and how it's different from a trademark and so on. Those things they'll learn when they have the interest. You have a lot of kids, you get them fired up and they'll get 50 books. I remember my elder son, he got interested in in wildlife photography, and overnight he was ordering 30, 40, 50 books on photography because of his interest. And I see that's probably the thing which I would like to see in future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable suggestions, which we will keep in mind for our future GIPC, and about the timing and about the topics and about bringing more and more inventors and putting up case studies and also innovators. So all these suggestions we will keep in mind and we will try to put them up in the coming GIPCs. Thank you very much, sir. Now, before I ask the other learned friends on the dais, I would request from the audience, from the participants, to come and give their views and suggestions about the future roadmap of GIPC. Mamta ji, आप start कीजिए. नहीं यहीं आगे बोलेंगे ना क्या है? और माइक वहाँ दे दीजिए.
Thank you, sir, for asking us from the audience to give suggestion. I think it had been a great conference, and I was really taken with the words of Mr. Anand. And totally, I can't agree more that in case the format could be where you create the passion for IP, which will not only create an environment where the respect of IP, the learning of IP, and creating the IP, all three are required at the same time. So therefore, my take would be it's a great conference, but there is always scope of improvement, and that one feature, if we can add, would be really, really very good. For example, today we had a very small game for 15 minutes, which was for copyright quiz. And though it was a lunchtime, nobody left the seat, everybody was glued, and everybody enjoyed. Such small features, maybe some kind of activity, maybe some kind of mock trial where you invite the judge, you actually discuss a case which is a live case, maybe this was like artificial intelligence created some...
We had a full session on the mock trial.
No, but that was a mock trial by the law firm. But if you can invite the judges, what Mr. Anand was suggesting, that if you can also involve them, because that is another part of implementation or respecting or getting the judgment, because ultimately that is what will hold the guy. So that kind of, features, if that can be included, that will be great. So, but it was a fantastic, and I really enjoyed. Thank you.
Dr. Kardam is there? He is left. So anybody can come voluntarily, but try to be very precise, 1 to 1.5 minutes.
Very good evening to you. My suggestion could be the IP is mainly benefited to different part of group, mainly the inventor as a first party, then your IP services, then your examiners, and the students are education institutions who will be teaching the people. So we can make the other people also to come to participate in this type of events. So maybe the students can be given free, and the institution can be given at reduced cost or something like that, so that all get benefit. Second thing, we can suggest to the government to give some free facilitation center where they can do free patenting, and they can get the money back once the patent is granted or get it successful, so that when the patent person gets earning, that can be given. Because even for legal services, we have freely government is giving free services for legal work. So this also can be done to this thing. The commercialization part, something can be done, because ultimately once the money comes from the person only, he will get motivated in doing such the thing. So that some centers, some government can take some steps so that this can reach that whatever the product he makes, it is reaching to the public as a whole, so that the entire nation gets the benefit, or the whole world gets the party which is invented by the US or somebody, only we use it. So it can be useful for the whole society as a world. Yeah. Thank you very much for giving opportunity.
Thank you. We take good note of his suggestion, and may I just inform that at the Vigyan Bhavan, we had really invited about 60 scientists, women scientists, who are doing their internship at TIFAC, Ministry of Science and Technology. So we will try to invite more students as when possible. So may I request Hattori-san from Tokyo, Japan? From Nakamura? Yeah.
So thank you very much, and having a few times, 8 minutes to speak to speak up in here. 2 minutes, okay. So it is maybe fifth or sixth time to be here, and I always surprised that many audience are focusing on the specific key technology, like this time AIs, and many speakers telling that what will happen on the AIs or other issues. But I want to know what was happened in the last time, and this is the outcome, and how should we do next time? So I wanted to know that part as well. Yeah. And also, I thank you to use this paper brain. How can I say it in English? Brain. This is also a Japanese culture. So I'm now folding the paper, origami, and thank you very much, everybody.
Very innovative, very nice. So, please, Mr. Manan. I should not call the names. I think you should raise your hand and you should try to volunteer to come on the dais and say a few words. So who will be the next? All right, yeah. All right, okay.
It was a nice experience. I used to attend conferences whenever they have been held in Bangalore earlier. After a break of 4 or 5 years, I attended in Delhi. It's a pleasant experience. Crowd has increased quite a lot, and also the quality of topics and the content. And it is current and innovative topic. So one suggestion is that 3 days confined in the rooms is somewhat stuffy and difficult. I wish Dr. Agarwal can cater for some outdoor activity and take us outdoors for half a day at least.
Already discussed, and next year it will be like 1 day, then excursion, and then discussion.
That will be nice. So with that, I end my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Good. So please, I may not be able to call the name, but then those who want to, they can come in the front seat one after another. Pankudi, you would also like to say something? Please come in the front. My friend from Germany, you may have to say something. Sir, you from Germany, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anushka. I'm a student of Hidayatullah National Law University. So firstly, I would really like to thank Dr. Agarwal for giving us this opportunity to be here in a room full of academicians and working professionals in the field of IP. It really fosters an interest in intellectual property, as Mr. Anand just said. So that's probably one of the only suggestions that I'll have to include more students in a platform such as this, because till date, I believe a lot of universities consider intellectual property as a very niche field of law. So if we have to encourage more and more young participation in this field of law, I think this platform is one of the greatest platforms to not only inculcate this interest in law, but also tell them how it really is to practice intellectual property outside the boundaries of their educational institution. So thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention, but there was a time where the 4 technical sessions were happening at the same time, and we were always at a loss of which session to attend, where to go. So if these sessions, instead of happening at a parallel time, can happen one after the other so that we can gain as much from these sessions, that'll be really great. But thank you all so much.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Muthu from Dex Patent. It has been a great experience, being part of GIPC. We have been associated with GIPC almost from the year 1 or 2, and we always enjoyed being here. It's a great learning as well as networking opportunity. And this year, I also like the theme of, the disruption and, rethinking IP, very, very, value-adding topics. And in terms of location, yeah, Mr. Anand suggested Goa. I would also request you to consider Chennai. Yeah, right. The weather is better. Maybe pollution is little less.
We had a workshop last year.
Yeah. But for we attended. But for the annual GIPC format, I would request you to consider next year or in the upcoming years. You all will also get an opportunity to come there, and we will enjoy. So thank you so much.
Hello everyone, I'm Pankhuri from ZSIP Services. So thank you sir for having us here. Thank you for the beautiful 3 days. It has been organized really nicely. I loved the sessions, even I was jumping between sessions as that young lady said, but I tried to grab the most of it. And suggestions, just keep this up, this is perfect. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Amritesh Mishra, and I have my own law firm by the name The Amenders Legal. And I find GIPC a very good platform to meet people. It's a very great learning experience. And I see that a lot of the first generation lawyers and very new law firms are coming. And it's a very good platform to actually connect with people and promote yourself. And in fact, meet the masters of law from different countries. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I am Pragya Arora and I represent PA Legal. So sir, I really acknowledge you for conducting GIPC and bringing all of us together within a small area so that we can interact with each other and speak with each other. And being a young professional, I know young professionals have a lot of hesitation speaking with the fraternity sitting out here, and through these programs only, it's a medium that we can communicate with you all. And like Praveen sir, Malati ma'am, they have been our mentors and we grow up watching them and learning from them. So that is the only manner that we can learn and interact with them. And just a small suggestion, like we had a small game today, just continue with those games or something, and even we can club it with some kind of...
should come from you.
Yeah.
We will implement.
Like some group activities that we can do in a group of 2 or 3, so that there is love and harmony between all of us and all the lawyers and the IP fraternity. Thank you so much.
Hi.
I correct myself, you are from US.
Right. I was going to say that. I'm Timothy Kratz from the United States. I've been a part of this conference for many years, I think the last 3 years as Kratz and Berry, and we're proud to be a sponsor of this conference. It is fantastic for the breadth of subject matter, as well as the depth. For example, the CRISPR-Cas9 conference session was incredible in terms of the pure learning experience, and something that you're exposed to that you wouldn't be otherwise exposed to. And the networking is also a very important part for us, and this year as well as many years, it is perfect. I don't have any particular suggestions other than I've missed every time that I've been here the mock trial, and I'm regret that greatly. And I don't know if it's because there's something else that was in parallel to it that I was interested in. It might have been the CRISPR thing. I just don't recall. I think it might have been, and that was too good to miss. so maybe it's more of a personal thing. I'd like to see it sometime. Maybe bring it outside of India jurisdiction as well. As a litigator in the United States, I think it would be fascinating. One of the nice sessions we heard was an explanation of what happened in Germany.
We did this once long time back.
You have done that?
When Judge Rader was here.
Oh, yeah. I bet that was fascinating. We'll bring him back and get him to do that. I've argued in front of him, and would be pleased to have him part of this again. But that would be it. If I would like to see the Indian one, and perhaps bring it out again back to international. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And of course, next year we will have some mock trial with the judges and good lawyers in a very practical type of situation. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Preston Richard. I am from a law firm in Germany, Badele Pagenberg. I don't look German, but that's because I'm Indian, and I've actually been working in India before. So this was coming back home, my first GIPC conference, to meet some old faces that I've actually known for some time. Of course, we are not on the list, but we had been on the list before for some time. We got off the list, but now we're trying to get back to the conference. This is my first conference, and we think we want to continue to come here and keep ourselves available. Very good conference, good arrangement, especially the Vigyan Bhavan, where we had a policy kind of view and practical view here. So a combination of both policy and practice was very good. Suggestions, not much. I think it's also a fault from some of the presenters because we take a longer time. I was a presenter to run the break, which makes the break shorter for networking. So in case, so a balance between having more time for networking as well as for time for presentation, which we, of course, has to be both sides. So that's my small suggestion. But otherwise, very good conference. Thank you very much.
So we need to have a trade-off between the two. Yeah, we will take care.
Hi, my name is Som Panda. I'm a patent attorney at Oblon. This is actually my second GIPC. I really like this conference. I really enjoy the depth of the discussions. I'm amazed at the level of talent that you guys always find here. It's a great networking opportunity, and actually a lot of the relationships I've developed in the Indian IP community have started with GIPC, and I think you guys do that a lot better than a lot of the other conferences that take place in India. I do agree on the previous comments on the mock trial. Even not even having a breakout section, having it as one of the main events of GIPC, I think that would be very well attended and well appreciated. The only other comments is that you do call it global GIPC, so it'd be nice to have it one time outside of India. My preference would be Hawaii, so I love that. So, thank you.
Good evening all. My name is Vijay. I'm from Manipal University. I'm doing PhD on intellectual property rights policy. Actually, I'm completely new to this field. When I came to know about GIPC conference, I thought that I'm completely low when I'm compared to the other professionals here. First day I felt very low, but later I interacted with many people, and some of the sessions were wonderful, and I thought that will be very much useful to my research. And Malati ma'am, she is perfect lecturer, and from her sessions I have learnt many more things. And suggestions, I want to give one suggestion. There should be more time for question and answer session, because people like me, very new to this field, can learn more from question and answer sessions only, but very much time, less time is given to that. Next sessions, I'm expecting more time for question and answer.
Yeah, we will try to, what we will try to do for, we can take the questions through the sleeves, so that, that can take care of attending to those questions. Yeah, in less time. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Dhruv, please come. The young man.
Dhruv, you also come.
Yes, Dhruv first. Dhruv Anand. आप बैठी ना डॉक्टर मालती आप बैठ जाइए डॉक्टर मालती आप बैठिए ना आ जाएंगे सर आ जाएंगे
Well, I'm not a long timer when it comes to the conference. It's just the second conference that I've attended. Having said that, it's very beautifully organized, and as everyone was saying, just the depth and the the level of detail people went to, it's fantastic, and I congratulate everyone. I think I'm not sure whose suggestion it was. I think one suggestion was that if we can get, have real, for example, when it comes to traditional knowledge, actually have some artisans come here, weavers or whatever, show, real, tangible, whatever. I mean, it could be, the people who make kani and, anything that is subject to traditional knowledge protection, they can actually come and show those things, artifacts.
I met Dr. Viva and the in charge. I went to the Tickedeal library.
Right.
And I invited them.
Absolutely.
So at Vigamon, they had come in fact.
Correct.
But we couldn't have the opportunity to listen.
Absolutely. So that, people, yes.
Definitely ask them to come.
Absolutely. That's absolutely. And,
I'm very, very concerned about Tickedeal. So
that's right. That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, somebody, as Mr. Anand was saying, that somebody, can actually come and show how music is created, for example. To have those those little workshops in the side, which just make it more appealing, more interesting. But that's it. Otherwise, it's a fantastically, well-organized conference, and thank you for calling me.
Really very good.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, why not?
Sorry. So, I was speaking at a conference in Glasgow, and there they had a famous artist who was playing, who showed first that this is a case I'm going to talk about, and then he played what the plaintiff's work was, showed it it's a musical work, so he showed the music, the score, then played it, and then showed what the defendant's work was and played it. And before you knew it, the audience was in raptures. They were so fascinated by his music, and they were asking for his CDs of his own music. So, I mean, to make it practical is a different ballgame altogether. You take it to another level.
Maybe GI, like what you said. We know about GI, but actually go and show those GI. Maybe that is a one suggestion.
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal.
Have one workshop.
Malti ma'am, thank you.
Come. Who else? Hands up. Anybody? Come.
Good evening, Dr. Agarwal and the delegates and my friends there. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity on the behalf of the delegates showing it. First of all, I'd like to thank that you have organized on the weekend days. The last day is weekend, which is a very good for us to attend it.
Yeah,
if it is
that
the next day
also, this
working,
suggestion
then it's a
also we have
difficult one. This
well
time
taken.
I thank you.
It will be Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
This is the first time I thank you that next time whenever you organize, you organize dates in this way.
Yeah, definitely.
And the second is what I see here is I have attended 2-3 GPAs. Companies' participation are coming less here comparatively.
I have the numbers. So, corporates.
And more practical.
The total number of corporates were 64.
64.
The law firms were 103. Okay. You see, if you look at the trend, So gradually it is improving, and we will try to improve it further. Our idea is to bring the ratio to 1:1.
Right.
Okay.
And I have one more suggestion. Ki whenever you have a discussion here, you have included the companies, IP departments, persons, as well as the legal profession, which is a very good thing, since it gives us a combination. More it should be on the practical manner, should be more ki be, okay, for the law firm, this is the way for the further improvement to the clients. And
That's right.
for the
Mr.
IP
Murthy,
department
Dr.
persons,
Murthy
that is same thing is
from
doing.
Dr. Murthy was there from Intel. Then you had, I think, Dr. Rawat from Mercedes-Benz. So likewise,
More, because today's, that's what a person has said in the lunch. If it would have prolonged for more than 10 minutes, I think nobody would have moved there. For 15 minutes at the lunch time, everybody
we had
was
Dr.
stuck up
Srivastava
there.
from Hero. So likewise, we have
More there.
been inviting many people
Because
who are
more
the
it will
IP
be
heads.
practically, because when we go to our own work after the conference.
Chitra Iyer, you must have heard from Philips. Okay. Likewise, I think I can't, but there are many from different corporates. From Tata
And-
Steel, from TCS, we had 2 speakers.
And the last, what more my suggestion is, at the end, when I have attended different sessions, let's take a brief of the takeaways from the home, from the each GIPC.
Okay.
What, in the short way, what we are taking at home after this GIPC, what we are getting it.
Okay. So you want a summary.
Summary,
Actually,
that's it.
for that, what we have done, we have,
It may
we have,
not be at
no,
this time,
we have 4 repertoire from Hidayatullah Law School from Raipur, who are working under Professor Vivekananda, and they are already here. They are taking note of everything. Maybe not immediately, but we will send you through email.
Okay, fine, that's good, sir.
So that repertoire work is already on. You might not have seen, but they are
We are
working.
not aware
They
of
are all very LLM students. Please raise your hand. Yeah. And other colleagues? Okay. So there are 4 repertoires who are already working from Hidayatullah. So we are, every year we take some suggestions, we will try to implement.
Because
Thank you.
more and more
Thank you, sir.
people will
Then
come. Thank
we
you,
will
sir.
have to, yeah.
Thank
Ah. That's all. So now I request my friend Terry Ladlu. About Mr. Ladlu, I can only say that he has been consistently coming for more than 10 years to GIPC. So a big hand for him, and I request him to share his thoughts and give some more suggestions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been about 10 years that I've been coming here, and I'm thinking back. I'm from Canada, by the way, a fellow Commonwealth country. But when I first decided I should come to GIPC, it was a fairly new conference, and people said, "You want to go to India? Why do you want to go to India for? There's no business there." And, well, they were wrong about that. But on top of that, I reminded them, well, like 10 years before that, I started going to China. And even 10 years ago, you could see where that was going, that China was becoming a much more important business partner for my firm and a much more important venue for IP in the world. And I could see back then, but every year when I come here, one of the big things that I get out of it is on the education side is just how far each year the ecosystem for IP in India has changed. Mostly improved, not always, but mostly improving. So it's becoming a much more IP-friendly venue. And India is not going to be the next China. It's going to be uniquely India, but it's going to be a more important venue for IP. And one of the big takeaways from this year is Patent Policy 2.0 is coming, right? The people here in this conference, a number of the people here are going to be key influencers and developers of that policy. And if my suggestion would be for next year, you'd maybe feature that. It would be great if we could have a session around what that vision for India is from the people, the practitioners, the key practitioners in the room, and get an idea of what the national policy might be and how India is going to fit into the global ecosystem of IP. Because this conference, that's been my window of how India fits into the global IP ecosystem for the last 10 years and hopefully maybe for the next 10 years. So thank you, Dr. Agarwal.
Now I request Dr. Malati to say a few words.
Yeah, I think congratulate Dr. Dhanpat Agarwal for organizing this. He does a great job every year. And I think this time the best part was the theme was very well chosen. I think most people were very happy. The level of talks, I thought, I've been here for many years now. The level of the talks by most of them was very, very high. People were very happy. And I also saw more people attending sessions this year as compared to last year, especially in AI in health, AI in agriculture, AI in smart mobility. These are topics that we could do. But basically what I feel is that we should use GIPC with a lot of IP professionals here. Can we make a change in the policy? What do we do in that? Because it's so archaic that we should do that, and that is my only suggestion that I have. Thank you.
So good evening. I am thankful to all the participants who have been here from 21 countries, and we had 7 plenary sessions, 16 technical sessions, and we had more than 130 speakers in all the 3 days. Thanks for your patience and for your continued support and encouragement provided to us, which give us more energy, more strength, more encouragement, more enthusiasm to carry the torch of GIPC to move on to further create awareness. Mr. Savar was telling in the opening session that it is not only for creating awareness, but also for skill development. So maybe we are trying to help the nation, the society in the whole pursuit of creating a strong IP ecosystem. He was mentioning about the 7, but primarily I take them precisely 5: creation, protection, enforcement, commercialization, and after all, at the bottom of the pyramid, the awareness. Awareness is very important for India, at least at this stage, because unless we have the awareness at the policy level, sometimes there is no allocation of budget for the R&D. So whether it is at the production level or at the management level or at the marketing level, there has to be a continuous awareness about IP. So we are in pursuing our path to create more and more awareness. Last year, after our GIPC in Bangalore, we had 3 workshops, one in Mumbai on the IP software, then one we had in Chennai on automobiles, and then one in Hyderabad on pharmaceutical. In my last address at the Valedictory, we had also mentioned that we will try to move on to the northeast and to various other parts by collaborating with local universities and local institutions. So we are trying to develop our relation with those universities, and maybe for GIPC alone, in even after 3 days, there have been a lot of suggestions that we should do this, we should do this. Well, the time becomes the constraint. So despite using the time in the most optimum manner, but then still there is a scope for doing something more. So which we can do not only in one GIPC, we may have to increase the number of more workshops at different places, and we can, then have more presence at different geographical location. Maybe GIPC is now concentrating only in India, but then maybe through collaboration, we have been speaking with our friends who are participating in GIPC that we may have collaboration like country first in and around the country like Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. So we may organize some GIPC in those neighboring countries, including Pakistan and all the neighboring countries. So having said that, I had just few more suggestions as Dr. Malati was suggesting, and I had a talk with few other experts. So what they said that if you want to scale up the standard of GIPC, then what we should do, we should keep our involvement with the participants through some program, so that the people after going from here, they should not just have reconnect after 1 year. So how do we reconnect and keep the our relation continuous throughout? So for that, what we have thought, it depends upon the approval of all of you. So after discussing with few our well-wishers, we have thought of creating 2 study group, because during the discussions also, since it was on the AI and more on the disruption of technology and disruptive innovation. So this area is so gray area, so a lot of things are still to know, and the suggestions were also there how we can collaborate. So in our thinking and in our approaches to resolve the issues legally, technically. So for that, we have thought of creating 2 groups, one on the artificial intelligence, the other on the technology transfer. So we will send you the email inviting your suggestions how that could be made more practical and more pragmatic. But maybe some of the issues which I would mention may not be exactly the part of AI, maybe something different, but broadly what our Prime Minister had mentioned, the 5 broader aspects of the AI. So from that, this blockchain technology, machine learning, robotics, Internet of Things, big data analytics, and in all the 5, there would be some common features where we would like to get your suggestions, and these common features would be IP ownership, because this is a very open question, who owns IP in case of artificial intelligence. Then what would be the regulatory features on that, how we can collaborate. So collaboration will be one issue, and then the patentability of AI, that will be another issue. So these 4, so we will be sending emails to you seeking your further suggestions. Similarly on the technology transfer also, because we know that 90% of the patents never gets commercialized. So how we can improve the culture of commercialization, how the research institutions can have effective interaction with the industry, and how they can have an effective technology transfer offices. And for that, we would take your views, because there are certain gray areas in the valuation of IP, and then on the negotiations also, and on the taxation aspect also. So these are the 3 common areas for the technology transfer where we would like to have. So with this, as Dr. Malti was suggesting, that we should have some on the policy. In the past, when National IPR policy was under consideration in Mumbai in the year 2015, before this policy came out on 13th May 2016, we had taken 70 suggestions from you people, and with those suggestions we had compiled the report under the chairmanship of Professor Prabodh Ganguly, and we had given suggestions to Government of India. So similarly on these issues, we can have more and more interactions and discussions, and if you can really come out with some very good study paper, we can give it to the policy planners, and we can also make it a valuable document. So this is what I wanted to say, that how we can improve upon. Next year, of course, there are suggestions about timing, about the venue, and about certain other mix of the contents. So all the suggestions are well taken, and we will definitely request you that try to stay in touch with our GIPC team. It's not that I ask you for suggestions. You are part of the GIPC family, so your suggestions are always welcome, and we should see that the tree of GIPC keeps growing, and it is a fruit-bearing tree. It's not a tree without fruits. So everybody should enjoy the fruits of the tree, which GIPC is trying to. You see, we planted this, and the seeds are taking strength in the earth. So 12 years are now completing today. We will be moving to the 13th GIPC, but in between GIPC, we'll have more and more workshop and more learning process. So this interaction, because we are in the era of knowledge, so you see, in the era of knowledge, I consider always that human resource is the most important resource for this. We should have more and more interaction with the people working in research institutions, people working in different laboratories, whether it is government institutions or the private institutions. So GIPC will try to develop that kind of networking, the relationship, because relationship is very important. So you should try to keep interacting with GIPC team all the time, so that your input will be the most valuable input in this process of knowledge building. So with these words, I think I conclude my remarks, and what I would do, I would request that this session we can conclude by, I can try to recite one sloka from Sanskrit. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukha bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.